and welcome to a new video on my channel. Sorry for the background noise, my neighbor is like drilling and sawing and I don't know what he's doing, being noisy. Anyway, today I am going to do another storytime video because I used to do those quite a bit on my other channel and people seemed to really enjoy them, thought they were really funny, which in hindsight I find them funny too, not at the time, but yeah, I'll figure I'll do another story time. So this time I am gonna talk about the guy that thought I was cheating. Yeah. Alright, so let's start at the beginning. So I matched with this guy on Tinder. Yeah, it was Tinder. So I matched with him on Tinder, we were like talking, we had a lot in common. We both wanted like big families and all that stuff, and we were talking on Tinder for like about a week or so, and then we exchanged numbers and we were like texting for probably another week or so, and then we decided we were gonna meet up. So our first date we went and we had lunch somewhere and it was actually really good, but I was kinda, I don't know, on the date itself I felt kind of nervous, but like in a weird way nervous that I never really, on other days I didn't feel like that, and I don't know, that was a bit weird. So basically we had this date and we talked about you know, our family. He was adopted, so like he talked about that, and I really, at some point in my life, would like to adopt and I would like to have a big family, and we were like talking about that pretty much most of the days, which is, I know for some people, a little bit intense for a first date, but it kind of like, it wasn't forced or anything, it just kind of like, that's kind of what the topic ended up being mainly. And I had a great time, and then I went home, and so I had that feeling, that nervous feeling, and I met up with my friend afterwards, and like I told her like about this feeling. She was like, "Oh, maybe it's just because you really like him and you're getting nervous." I'm like, "Yeah, maybe that's it." But I don't know. I wasn't really too sure. Anyway, so we had this date, and normally I got, after some of my previous experiences, I got a little bit paranoid, so I would literally stalk people on like all social media platforms before I would even meet up with them. But at that point I had kind of decided, you know, that's maybe a little bit over the top, so I didn't do that this time before the first date. I did on the after the first date, I did look him up on Facebook, and that's when I found out he had a daughter, which didn't really change anything. It's just the fact that he didn't say anything about it that I found odd, because I understand that you don't want to necessarily mention that on a first date, but our whole conversation, the whole topic on the first date was about kids and adoption and having a family, so it seemed a bit odd that he didn't just mention like, "Oh yeah, like I have a daughter." So then I was a little bit suspicious, because the last time that happened, and I have another video about that, the guy turned out to have a girlfriend, and he had basically been lying to me for like 3 months. So obviously I was a little bit suspicious. So I confronted him. So I messaged him. I was like, "Hey, I noticed on your Facebook you have a daughter, and why didn't you say anything?" And he basically said, "Well, I wasn't so sure, like I didn't want to say anything because I wasn't sure if you were really serious, you know, about having kids." And I was like, we just had this whole conversation, like obviously I'm serious. Anyway, so he was like, "Yeah, I hope that doesn't change anything." And I kind of was like, okay, well, you know, other than that, he seemed like a nice guy, but I was feeling a little bit off now. But I was like, okay, I'll give it a second chance, because a lot of times, like after the first date, I'm just like, nah, and I don't see them again, and I'm like, I should give people the benefit of the doubt maybe a little bit more. So we went on a second date, like a week later, I think it was a week later, and we went to have drinks. So we went to have drinks, and I got there, and he just casually mentions his house is across the street. And I was like, yeah, so okay, I know your motives here now. But, you know, I just like, it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to your house, but it's fine. So we started having some drinks and we had like some conversation, and I don't know, like at some point, so a few months ago, I've decided I'm not gonna say anything about like the whole virginity aspect until someone straight up asks me about it. And of course this guy in the second date asked me about it. Not specifically, he asked me like about previous relationships and stuff, and I told him like, well, I haven't really been in a relationship before. And then he asked me in a nice-ish way, because I had one guy like ask me in a very rude way on the first date, but in a kind of like nice-ish way, he was like, yeah, so when was the last time you were intimate with someone? And I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, well, you're straight up asking me, so I'm gonna give you the straight answer. So I was like, well, never. This guy choked on his beer, and then he was like, really, 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 never, 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 ever, ever. And I was like, yep. And then he was kind of like, oh yeah, well, you know, if it would happen with me, know that you can trust me, and, you know, it'll be fine. And then we kind of just changed the subject and we started talking about someone else. And I was just kind of like, I felt more off after that. I was like, okay, because he was just kind of assuming things. Anyways, so, you know, we kind of changed the subject, we went to a different place, had like another drink, and at some point in the date, I just looked at this guy and I was like, no, this is not it. Like, I don't even want you to like kiss me or anything. No. So at like 10:30, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go. I told him like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go home. My phone had almost died, so I was waiting for my Uber, and I was like, oh yeah, my phone's dying, so I'm gonna get an Uber now. He still made a final attempt to try and get me to charge my phone at his house. I was like, no, it's fine. So I got an Uber home, and then I met up with my friend. Sorry guys. Met up with my friends the next day. And I told her all this, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, like it just feels off. I just feel weird about it. But even then, I still would have given him a shot for another date, which I'm like, why? But, you know, I like to like people to prove to me that they're wrong. And sometimes I give them too many chances, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, something felt a bit off. And so he messaged me that next day. So on Saturday, he messaged me and he was like, hey, I really like meeting you. Do you want to like grab a coffee or something tomorrow? And I'd already had plans. So I was like, oh, sorry, I can't do tomorrow. I already have plans. And then he was like, oh, can we do some dinner or something then, like next week? And I'm like, yeah, that would work. But at the time, I had just started getting back into like my pole dancing classes. So I was basically doing pole dancing classes every day of the week till like 7 or 8. So I messaged him, I was like, yeah, I can meet like during the week in the city, but like after 7 or 8, because I basically am working, and then I have go straight to like these pole dancing classes. And then it got weird. Alright, so this is basically kind of what happens. So I said, well, I have pole classes on weekdays in the city until anywhere between 7 or 8. So I could do it after that during the week. I usually go straight after work, so I don't really have time in between. And then he said, got to be honest with you, I like you and I love what you do, and I can't stop you for doing what you do. I love it though. His typing is a bit weird as well, like his grammar and stuff. But yeah, I'd like to spend more time with you, and if you don't have the time, I think it's far to go out on way. And I was like, what? What does that mean? And he was like, up to you. And I was like, what do you mean it's far to go out on way? Because that's not proper English. Like, what does that mean? And he's like, I think I like you a lot, but if you have someone in your mind, that's fine. Just trying to not to be hurt, I think. You're a beautiful girl, and I've also to offer someone, but gotta be honest, there can't be two. It's gotta be one. Ha ha ha. And I was like, what? Like, in my head, I was like, what the fuck is this guy saying? Like, so I was like, okay, just saying it straight. So you're thinking I'm seeing someone else. And then it was like, you're seeing someone else. And I was like, no, I'm definitely not. But in my head, I was like, run? Because we've been on 2 dates, like, what? So then it's like, okay, I'm glad you don't want to be that, I don't want to be that guy. Hope you know what I'm saying. Dinner tomorrow if you're keen. And I was like, whoa. So I said, I don't really know what to say. If you're already thinking stuff like that after 2 dates, when I give you no reason to, besides having a life, that's pretty intense. And then he was like, yeah, it is, not gonna lie, but it's up to you. And then I was a little bit blunt, but you know, that's me. Look, as I said to you earlier, I'm not here to jump into a relationship and want to take things slow. You're acting like this after 2 dates is not taking things slow and comes across rather possessive. And I don't need any of that. I know you've been cheated on before, but maybe you should work on your issues regarding that first before you start dating someone else and project that onto them. Because it's not fair. This might be a bit blunt, but you said yesterday you prefer honesty, so I'm just being honest here. And then he was like, ha ha ha, all good. You do you. I'm not gonna force you into anything. At this stage I'm in right now, I want a woman, not a girl. Ha ha ha. So that ended that real quick. Yeah, so that was the time a guy accused me of cheating on him after 2 dates. So if you have any other crazy date stories, because I love to hear other people's crazy dating stories, please share them in the comments, because I would love to read them. And yeah, let me know how you would have handled this situation as well, because I'm curious. In hindsight, that feeling I had at the first date should have been a warning sign, and I should have just not even bothered the second date, and definitely not have bothered giving him another chance for a third date. But you know, that's life. No regrets. It's a funny story sort of to tell now, but yeah, let's say I am glad I didn't go to this guy's house. And on to the next date. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe because that would really help me. And I hope to see you next time. Bye!